All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Today is a special episode of the MURFand EDUBBS show. It's a little raining out there today, so I figured I'd hop on here for a little Mets and Yankees news. I had some outside chores I have to be doing right now, but the fact that it's raining is going to allow me time to come talk to you guys about this inevitable matchup between the Mets and Yankees. I don't know about you guys out there. The Mets and the Yankees, this game really doesn't have as much. I guess maybe it's got luster for the New York fan. But as somebody outside looking in, as a pure baseball fan, maybe, I don't think it's that much of a matchup because both teams are struggling right now. And by struggling, I mean that, I guess, listen, Garrett Cole's pitching good for the Yankees. Okay. The Yankees have to get something going with their bats. LeMahieu's not looking like he used to be. There's a lot of stuff going on in that lineup. They got rid of Hicks, which was a very good move. But when I say luster about the Mets and Yankees matchup talking about tonight, I talk about the luster of there's not going to be any Pete Alonso and there's not going to be any Aaron Judge for this matchup. So as a Mets fan, of course, I want the Mets to beat the Yankees. And here's my partner calling in from an undisclosed location so we can get his input on what's going on. EDUBBS, are you there yet? EDUBBS? All right, he called in. I invited him, so I don't know. There we go. He's on speaker now. EDUBBS, you there, my friend?
What's up, Murph? How
you there, dude?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, I just the location. Yeah, listen. I like I said, no editing here. It's all live, dude.
That's true. Yeah, I'm in an undisclosed location, and if anybody can find me right now, I'll give you $100.
Wow. I think listen, I haven't been working in a little while. I think I might have to go look for you after this podcast.
A little supplemental income never hurt anybody, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So what's up, dude? You probably don't have too much time to talk. I know you're out for your lunch break walk and everything, but look, it's raining outside today, man. We got a Met Yankee game tonight. I had to come on and say something, you know?
Yeah, that's fine. Actually, it's pretty cloudy where I am. It's not raining yet, but so that goes to show you I'm quite a bit of distance from where you are there, Murph.
Exactly.
Also, next week I'll be waking up in Tampa on this day. So going on vacation Saturday, leaving on my baseball trip, but all pumped up for the Subway Series. But you know what though, Rich? It seems like it doesn't have the luster as it used to have. I mean, remember the first one in the 90s? It was like, yeah, Subway Series. And I wanted to talk about the Yankee Red Sox series too. There's just like no more luster in these series. I don't know what it is. Maybe you do the same thing.
Yeah, Eric, I don't understand it either because, while I was waiting for you to come on, I was talking for a minute or two about it's lacked its luster. And I think it's lacked its luster right now because both of us are pretty disappointed in the way our baseball teams are performing. Yours isn't performing as bad as mine is, but both of our teams aren't performing up to our expectations, I'd have to assume.
And also Judge and Alonso out too. That adds something to it too. It's just like if those two guys were in the lineup, I think it would have been a little bit better. But did you see who leads the American League in home runs now, Rich?
Oh,
Shohei Ohtani. You got Alonso, Ohtani, and Judge in the Major League. That's the Major League leaders. But Ohtani now leads in the American League. Amazing, right?
Did you see what he did the other night? I think they said he was one of the first people in history of baseball. I think he went 3 for 3 and struck out 9.
The guy's unreal. Yeah, but like I said, the Yankee Red Sox series, I don't know if you saw it, it just doesn't mean anything anymore. I mean, there's no characters left in this series, You look at the best Yankee is Aaron Judge, of course, nice guy, and the best Red Sox is Rafael Devers, nice guy. There's just like no more competitive juices flowing. It's just a regular normal game nowadays, it seems.
I want to see Jason Varitek and A-Rod punching each other in the face at home plate.
Well, Varitek, he coaches the Red Sox, and they showed Trevino and him talking on Sunday night. Yeah, you remember? Or Pedro Martinez decking Don Zimmer. Or, if you go back to the 70s, Greg Nettles broke Bill Lee's arm, pitcher of the Red Sox. You don't see that anymore, Rich. And there's some wind in the background. Sorry, I'm walking around. But
that's all right.
But yeah. It's just crazy. It's a Yankee Red Sox. And I wasn't gathering around to watch it over the weekend. But you know what, though? Nobody sent the memo to the networks. I mean, why are Yankee Red Sox Sunday night game this week, right? and again, this coming Sunday, too, Yankees Red Sox.
Yeah, I don't understand. And I guess maybe like you said before, maybe it's lacking its luster just because of the fact that our teams aren't up to par. But it's just like in the past, when there's not a Met game on, I would have been pumped to watch that Yankee Red Sox series. But listen, I knew it was on, but there was other things I was doing at that time. You know what? I was actually into the basketball, and I'm gonna, when you get off, I'm gonna talk about the basketball last night. But dude, I don't know. Like, even with the Mets, I'm so disappointed in watching the Mets. Like, I was back on track with the Mets there for a little while. They won the couple of games. Like, maybe that was a kickstart. They swept. I think they swept Tampa Bay. They beat Philly. And now they move on. It's like, all right, now everybody's talking about Mets against Braves. Now, look, Mets and Yankees has the whole, New York thing. But at the end of the day, American League East, National League East is 2 games that matter for wins and losses, but not really matter as much as that 3-game debacle of a sweep that the Atlanta Braves gave to us a couple of days ago. Now, that's something that I don't know if my Mets can recover too easily from, man, because they literally just they were making errors. The ball went under Sterling Marte's glove. And I don't understand. Now, I know we talked about this on our last episode about how about with Buck and like some of his comments, and like maybe it's something. I don't think he's doing it on purpose, but there's some kind of a divide in that locker room that I don't understand. That there's Lindor made an error the other night that wasn't a Lindor error. The guy can make some errors every once in a while, but the ball fell out of his glove the other night. It was in his glove and it fell out of his glove. Now, what's going on with the New York Mets, dude?
Well, did you see the Yankee game on Sunday night? There was a
I didn't
single by the Red Sox. Yeah, Red Sox guy hit a single in the 8th inning. I guess I forget who it was, and left fielder picks it up, throws it into Gleyber Torres, and Gleyber Torres didn't even attempt to catch the ball, which led to the guy going an extra base and stuff, and eventually tying the game, and the Yankees blew it and stuff. So there was lackluster defense on the Yankee side too. But you know what, though, Rich? I remember last year we were talking. You went to the Yankees Mets series. You were talking about Domingo Germán with the shirt out of the pants. The Yankees were not doing much. And you know what? The Mets swept that series. You know what happened after that, Rich? They went 14 out of 16. They won. So, you never know what's going to happen. Baseball's a very, very weird sport there, Rich.
It is a very weird sport, and I'm hoping that there's some kind of kickstart after something. And and listen, if it's because they swept the Yankees, I mean, listen, I'd be very happy about that. They sweep the Yankees, they win 2 from them, then they go on to win a bunch of games. That'd be great. But as well as I do with both of these teams right now, that could very easily happen to the Mets as well. As look, how much I hate Garrett. How much? Not even like I hate Garrett Cole. I just don't like him. I just think not even I can't even say I don't like him or I hate him. I don't think I think he's boring. But the guy's pitching great right now.
Yep. And you know what, though? Domingo Germán's pitching great, too. I mean, all kidding aside with the sticky stuff, whatever he was doing there. But I don't know if you've seen him pitch the past, 5, 6 starts. The guy's he's been saving the Yankees' ass, basically, Look at Severino. Severino got lit up 2 times in a row, pitches tonight against Scherzer. I mean, Severino's going to have to start putting some movement on the ball because he's just been throwing batting practice the last 2 outings. So it's going to be interesting tonight. I mean, is Scherzer going to come out and strike out 12 guys? Is Severino going to blow out? It's so iffy right now. We don't know anything about these teams. I mean, for heaven's sakes, the Mets signed Luke Voit. Did you see that?
I did, and I saw that they signed Luke Voit. Now, I'm hoping that the signing of the Luke Voit. Now, I don't like that they signed Luke Voit. It is what it is. He's a bat out there. He hits some home runs every once in a while. Pete's going to be out for about 4 weeks now, which I'll get to that in a minute, which is just so disturbing to me and how upset I am about that. But Luke Voit plays first base. He hits home runs here and there. And third part to that is I hope they DFA Danny Vogelback, Danny Burgers. I love the guy and everything, but he cannot be in that locker room anymore, especially. And again, I'm not saying Luke Voit is coming in there as Babe Ruth, but he's going to hit more home runs, and he could probably play first base to give Canna a break.
Yeah, and look at the moves that Billy Epler made. I mean, I really can't mock him because the moves that Brian Cashman has made over the past couple of years. But Cashman has a lifetime contract with the Yankees. Epler joined the Mets a couple of years ago. I mean, Epler made these stupid trades at the trade deadline. He traded J.D. Davis to the Giants for Darren Ruff, and then they bring in Vogelbach. They traded a pitcher to the Pirates, and he's doing pretty well, the pitcher they traded to the Pirates. So, I mean, our general managers suck, Rich. I think, something's got to give with these general managers.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Also, with the general managers, I mean, ultimately they're taking a stab at guys. Now, that being said, I think sometimes a lot of these high level guys are in bed with certain agents and stuff like that. So I think it becomes a problem when a relationship with somebody that's not on the team already becomes a relationship GM where a GM goes specifically after a guy because he see the A likes him or friends with him or he's got a good relationship with his agent. That's when it becomes a problem. But
Hmm.
as the pure like pick and choose and pulling, I'm going to take this guy and give this guy a contract. I mean, physically, you see them play, you give them a contract. You don't know if they're going to get hurt. You don't know if they're going to shit the bed. You don't know this. You really don't know it. But it does become a problem, though. I think when it becomes a personal relationship with either A, an agent, or B, the actual player.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is a business, and these guys have agents and stuff like that. But I was looking, Chris Bassett signed 65 million with the Blue Jays, and the Mets spent 75 million on Senga. Now Senga, he's been pretty good, but it seems like he needs an extra day rest all the time. So all these moves are very questionable. Even the Yankees moves too. With Rodon throwing 162 million dollars this way. What has he done lately? He hit his own batter the other day in batting practice. Willie Calhoun. Calhoun almost didn't play that game on Sunday night. So it's just crazy, Rich. But I know it's a long marathon, and there's plenty of time left to right the ship. But you know what, though? As we get to July, August, September, the ship starts sinking if you don't write it, right?
Yeah. And you hear these guys talk on the radio too, and they're right. Like a lot of, when people start talking about baseball in the beginning of the season, oh, my team's terrible. Oh, my team's playing good. Like in April, it's like, listen, guys, it's April. Let's get to Memorial Day. And I hear a lot of these guys talking about it. I think that's good. That's a good gauge point to like where you're going to be kind of like once you get to Memorial Day and through Memorial Day weekend, you're like, all right, this is kind of where they're going to be. Someone's chasing, someone's ahead, someone's got to keep the lead. So I think like now that it's around Memorial Day, we really got to look into see what's going on with our teams because I don't know. I think personally, like, I don't know how it's going to go, but I think Shohei Ohtani is going to be a New York Met. I really do. And the way these
Mhm.
kids have been playing, look, they've had their auditions, they had their debuts. Now, I'm even willing at this point to get rid of Beatty at this point, but they cannot touch Francisco Alvarez with a 50-foot pole. They cannot get rid of him. Get rid of the other three. I don't know. Not even say get rid of them if they want to be involved in a trade for Shohei Ohtani or something, but you cannot, under any circumstances, involve Francisco Alvarez in any trade for anybody.
Yeah, we spoke about the Angels, Rich. I mean, the Angels, don't forget, they're right in the hunt of the wild card. So, we spoke about Mike Trout getting that ring or actually, winning a playoff series. If the Angels continue, I mean, they might not be sellers at the trading deadline. They might be buyers, and they might let Otani, wait it out. I mean, I know he's a free agent at the end of the year. It's going to be very iffy to see what this trade deadline brings on August 1st.
I have a sneaky suspicion that not a, I just thinking as a guy from outside the box. I have a feeling he's going to sign with the Seattle Mariners, dude.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
I really do. I really do. Ichiro's his idol. I mean, I really do, dude.
Yeah, Seattle's struggling big time. I mean, made the playoffs last year. They're really not doing that much this year. It does make sense for him to go there. I mean, we saw Ichiro, right? The Pacific Northwest has been a hot haven for the Japanese ball player over the
Yeah.
past couple of years. So, yeah, so I don't know. I really don't see him
If,
wanting to come to New York.
yeah. I mean, listen, if the Mets lose out on him, I just have a feeling he's going to stay out West Coast, and I just think he's going to go to Seattle. And what if maybe the owner of the Angels thinks that there's two of the top three best players in baseball are out there. Let's be honest, right? So maybe
Mm-hmm.
so maybe they're saying it's kind of like maybe it's not working with these two guys really trying to outshine each other, or maybe they just have to get rid of one. And Mike Trout being like the face of the organization for so long, maybe they are going to explore options to surround Mike Trout with some young kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Crazy to see him. So don't forget, Trout has a couple of more years on Otani. I think Otani's has he hit 30 yet? I don't know if he's hit 30 yet, but yeah, you
Right.
never know. I mean, they have. I take Trout and Otani in my lineup any day, Rich. The
Well,
same guy,
absolutely, yeah.
having those two guys every day. It's like, and plus Otani on the mound and stuff like that. He's probably the best pitcher on the Angels as well.
Yeah, but I guess that lies a problem. Like when you going forward, like how I know he's young and everything, but how much longer do you think somebody physically could maintain being a top level pitcher and a top level hitter in the major leagues? I think it's kind of hard. The longevity factor is like I don't know how much longevity he has as doing both at a high level.
Yeah, I mean, look at Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth gave up pitching. I don't know if it was for the same reason, but I think the Babe liked to do a couple of extracurricular activities that kept him off the mound, so he would just hit and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, this is a generational player, Otani. We haven't seen anything like this ever, Rich.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
going to be interesting to see. I mean, a lot of these teams are still alive. Look at these central divisions. I mean, every team's within distance. Look at the Arizona Diamondbacks in the West kicking ass. I watched the game the other day. I mean, this team's for real, Arizona. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who sells and who buys. But right
Yeah.
now, you're looking at Oakland, Kansas City, and maybe Chicago White Sox as the sellers in the league right now.
And who do they really have? You know, the reason they're where they are is because they really have nobody. I mean, what's going on? What'd you say? The White Sox. I said the White Sox. What's going on with that kid? That what's his name? That's supposed to be so good out there with the White Sox.
Which one?
Not the White Sox.
Anderson? Oh.
That tell you, Tim Anderson. What the hell? That he should be banned for baseball forever.
Well, I heard a trade rumor that he would become to the Yankees. You imagine Anderson and Donaldson on the same side of the infield, Rich?
Oh my God, that's what you know. What that's let's get back to Mets and Yankees just for 1 second. I just want to ask you, what's going on with Rizzo, dude?
Yeah, Rizzo, he's in a 1 for 30 slump. He's just not. Ever since Judge got out of the lineup, Rizzo hasn't been hitting, and it's been hurting the Yankees because you can only depend on Billy McKinney, Willie Calhoun, Bowers. You can only rely on these guys so much. These guys aren't Major League Baseball players. They're just like band-aiding to get these stars back. I mean, Stanton's been slumping too. He was hitting the
Yeah.
ball hard in Los Angeles. He loves playing in Los Angeles. He comes back to Yankee Stadium. He's done crap lately. So, yeah, it's they're scoring like 2-3 runs. They really need Judge back in the lineup.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, man. Like, how long did they say that Judge is going to be out for?
Well, it's funny because there's no rhyme or reason. Even Judge, Judge likes to give those hint, those messages all the time, cryptic messages. He's saying, no,
Yeah,
we're taking it day by day and stuff. It is a big toe. And the big toe is like your center of balance, basically. He's
yeah.
been taking shots in it and stuff. They said, but yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be today. He was supposed to be back, but it's not going to happen. Maybe Fenway. They go to Fenway on Friday. Maybe we'll see him in Fenway. But I don't want him to come back and re-injure it, Rich. I mean, we've seen that a lot where guys they rush themselves back and they get re-injured and stuff. So, and I'm sure you know about
Yeah.
Pete too. I mean, what do you think about that? The hit. Do you think that was a headhunting thing? What happened the night before when he hit the home run?
I don't. You know what? I don't know. The only reason why I don't know is because I've gotta think in my head that he went up to apologize to him. Right now, did he go up to
Mm-hmm.
apologize to him because he did mean to brush him back and he didn't know he was gonna hit him? Or I think he meant a little bit of a brushback, maybe. Or I don't think maybe he meant to hit him in the head or put him out for 3 to 4. But I think he definitely meant to brush him back, sort of a little bit. And then when he hit him, he felt bad.
Now that was Spencer Strider, right? Who hit him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I,
Strider's like the number one. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I didn't think it was intentional either. It just maybe been like a coincidence that the day before he was hit the big home run, and then the next day he breaks his wrist.
Yeah. And dude, like I said, he was at this point in time, he's right now why I'm watching Mets baseball still is Pete Alonso because he is the best player on the New York Mets. I'm not even saying right now. He's the best player on the New York Mets. I mean, Lindor's a good glove. Look, I'm a Lindor sympathizer all the time. I'm never going to say anything bad about Lindor. Pete Alonso's the best player in the New York Mets, dude. And with him not in the lineup, it makes everybody else worse. It makes McNeil worse. It makes Nimmo worse. It makes Lindor worse because all those crazy pitches that they're going to be sending to Pete Alonso's way because they don't want him to attack a 450-foot home run are all going to be going to Lindor, and they're going to be going to McNeil. McNeil with his, listen, I like McNeil. I love him. The guy was a batting champion next year, but again, he's like kind of like a punching, for lack of a better term, punch and Judy guy. He's going to get you your singles. He's going to get you your doubles. But right now, at this point in time, is you need somebody that's going to go in there and hit home runs like Pete Alonso was doing. Like Pete was hitting some big home runs, dude.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what would we say? He was on a pace for like 55, 60 home runs, right? A judge type year like last year. And then this happens. But, that's what baseball is. Baseball, there's injuries and stuff like that. But all I could say is, Rich, these teams better wake up fast because, in 13 weeks we get NFL coming. So, baseball's on center stage now with the NBA out and hockey ending probably today or something like that. But MLB's on center stage now for a couple of weeks. And if our teams are out of it, it's going to be a tough summer, Rich.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, again, I would love to have me and you sitting here just like yelling and screaming at each other and breaking each other's balls about whose team's better. Right now at this point, I got to be honest with you, I don't know whose team is better.
Yeah, I think we have a draw right now, Rich. I know in soccer we have the draws all the time. There's no ties in baseball, but I think between the Mets and the Yankees right now, it's basically a tie, these two teams.
Yeah. And, it's unfortunate, or, fortunate for the other teams, but unfortunate that the Yankees right now, which it mostly has been, the Tides are turning back to, to the AL East being the toughest, the toughest division in baseball, because everybody's over 500.
yeah, this new schedule really changed things around and stuff. You look at the Central divisions; teams are like barely keeping their head above the water. Where in the AL East, you have the top five teams, and even if the Red Sox are in the last place. Red Sox are in first place in the Central. So yeah, the AL East is like one of the strongest divisions, and I'm going to be in Tampa Bay next Tuesday night watching the Rays play, and I
All
want to see
right.
what this team's all about.
It's funny. It was maybe maybe a couple of years ago. Scott Ferris usually goes down to that area, and he used to go he'd be going take the kids over to a Tampa Bay Rays game, and he called me one time from there, and he literally he would say he was talking and his voice would carry to the other side of the stadium, he could literally talk to somebody if they were on the other side of the stadium because of the echo that was bouncing off, and the Rays were good at that times too, and he's like, "There's just nobody at the stadium."
Yeah, and it's like $40 for a ticket right above the dugout.
And
Try paying that.
it's so
Crazy.
unfortunate too. It's so unfortunate too because they consistently put out a good product for those Tampa Bay fans, and they just don't. They don't catch on. So you know what's going to happen is that team is just going to move somewhere else where they like baseball more.
Well, that's what the Red Sox are doing now too. The Red Sox are following that Tampa Bay plan right now, so that that's why the Red Sox, they're not that great of a team. They're trying to build a team up the way Tampa did. So the Tampa
Yeah,
module is working.
it is.
Boston's a big market, but they're trying to get that Tampa thing in there. I don't know if the fans are going to appreciate tanking for a couple of years, but it seems to be working in Central Florida at least, right?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, too, Eric, you're still just taking a shot on these guys. I mean, it's got to be something to do with the coaching down in Tampa. I have to think that it has to do with the coaching because, these guys are, at the end of the day, they got their scouts. They have their guys who think this one's good and that one's not good. So at the end of the day, they're listening to their scouts and listening to their management and taking a shot on guys, but they don't know how good these guys are going to be, but they just can coach and put together the best team on the field and make them play together. So I think maybe it's a little bit more coaching. You know what I mean?
It's all about player development too, Rich. I mean, look at the
Yeah,
Mets. Who's the last Mets pitcher to win over 15 games that was homegrown was Mike Pelfrey.
I
That
know.
was what 2000, early 2000. So yeah, it's all about player developmental. And the Atlanta Braves and the Tampa Bay Rays have been, the kings of this department in the
Yeah.
past decade or so. Well, the Braves have been doing it for years, as we know, right?
Yeah,
Crazy, right?
they just continuously pump out good players, man. It's they are, and they're like probably them and the Phillies are my two least favorite teams in the major leagues. But I just hate to say it, but they're an exciting baseball team to watch.
Yeah, and I will be at the Braves game on Saturday on Father's Day with Ben, and I'm looking forward to see what goes on in the ATL because that Brave Stadium seems lively, and I will get to do the tomahawk chop because it's not considered politically incorrect in that stadium for some reason.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want in Georgia. They can do whatever they want in
Exactly,
Georgia.
exactly.
Say what? Georgia, and Texas. Don't mess with either one of them. They can do whatever they want.
But we have the two game series now, and I guess the Mets visit Yankee Stadium in August, and the four
Yeah.
games in the Subway Series this year, like last year. So
Yeah.
should be fun
At
to
the end
watch,
of,
I guess.
at the end of the day, it's going to be like a math equation. The two wins for each team are just going to cancel each other out, and they're still going to suck.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a split. But the ticket. I mean, I haven't seen the ticket prices, but I know in the past it's been a hard ticket to get. But I'm sure with the two stars out, you can probably get a ticket cheap tonight on StubHub or any of the third market websites.
Well, they also said they said tonight's game sold out. I mean, secondary market. I'm sure there's tickets, but they said
Yeah.
if you go to the stadium, you can't get tickets to the stadium right now. So
Okay, I'm sure the tickets were bought way in advance before any.
yeah, I'm
Do
sure
that
they were.
stuff like
I'm sure they were.
yeah. So, but yeah, it'll be fun to watch. I'll be watching. I mean,
All
there's
right.
not much in sports anymore to watch with the NBA, and I just want to give my 2 cents on that. It's just like I think Miami shot it slow. They had three great series, and they just ran out of gas against Denver. I think Denver was a machine, and we've seen that Jokic is the best player in the world. What do you think?
Like I said, I don't know how long I can keep you, Eric. You could talk on it for as long as you want. I'm just saying, but I have to come on and talk about that series that I watched. It was watching Jokic play basketball is like watching like a beautiful movie or like a reading, or the guy is just. It's amazing to me that a guy of MVP caliber like he is, and as many points as he scores, as many blocks
Mhm.
as he has. You
Sure.
always see he's a pass first player, and it's in his DNA to look for the open guy first. And I think that type of mentality that he has, he'd be scoring 50 points every night because he literally looks for the open. Him and Jamal Murray have some kind of thing going on where he has that quarterback shuffle pass to him, and I mean. he just does everything, dude, and that showed, and that showed in this. That the good thing, good for the Denver fans out there, because listen, they've never had a championship before, and right now they have the best player in the world, hands down, and he's not even 30 years old yet.
Yeah, before I go, Rich, because I have to go in a minute or two, I just want to say that there was a shooting last night in Denver. I think 10 people got shot after the
Yeah,
game in the streets and stuff like that. But that happens everywhere. It seems fans don't know how to celebrate, behave and stuff like that. But yeah, 47 years to win a championship is a long time. And they stuck with Mike Malone. I mean, he was
yeah,
he was struggling, coach, and he promised the owners. I think the owners are the Cronkies. I think they own the Rams as well in the NFL. But he promised the owners that he would get to the promised land, and look at that, Rich. He got to the
yeah.
promised land. So hats off to
Yeah.
the Denver Nuggets. And Rich, I have to go back to work, or else it's going to be hats off to me in the office.
All
But
right, now
I just
listen.
wanted to, yeah.
Before you go, I see what you did there. See, you left me with some kind of contemplation factor when you told me about 9 people getting shot down in Denver, and
Oh,
you're ironically going to say, "Oh, I got to go, guys," and listen to the rest of the Murph and EDUBBS show with Murph yelling and screaming about politics.
Oh no, oh no. I just saw that pop up this morning. I was like, huh?
Yeah, dude.
And then I don't know if anyone was killed or anything, but a very unfortunate event and stuff. But
Very unfortunate.
we see cars overturned, we see fires and
Yeah,
stuff. It's like the good old days when teams
yeah.
won champion. It's tough to win a championship nowadays, no matter what city you're in and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. All
but
right, dude.
but Rich, I promise episode 40 when I get back from vacation. But
Nope.
thanks for
You
having
got
me
it,
on
bud.
now. I think we did a good 20 minutes, half hour, and I'll be
Yeah.
listening to you as you go along, Rich. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, there, partner. I'll give you a call. I'll give you a call later or something. All right. I'll talk to you
Okay.
later, dude.
Okay. Take care, buddy. Have a good one.
All right. That's EDUBBS signing off. Now the EDUBBS has kind of left me to my own devices here. So I covered the Mets and Yankees. Now I'm going to give you my final thoughts on the Mets and Yankees tonight. The Mets and Yankees game really had. I'm going to be watching. Okay, I'm going to be watching with both of my sons. My wife will probably watch too, because believe it or not, my wife is a big Mets fan as well. But I don't even know. Like I said to Eric, I really do feel that there's going to be 4 games between the Mets and the Yankees. Tonight's 2, and then in August is going to be 2 more. I really feel that this Met-Yankee series is going to become kind of like a math equation, where at the end of the day, they're going to split here, and then they're going to split Yankee Stadium. And at the end of the day, they're both still going to have, kind of the record that they are. So looking at this team right now, I think that going into tonight's game, if anything, is the Mets are going to win tonight. The reason why I said they're going to win tonight is because you got Max Scherzer pitching, and I think you got Severino pitching tonight. Now, Severino's been hurt. I know he didn't pitch that well in his debut, but and he's coming in tonight to a Max Scherzer that he's kind of been a little schizophrenic over the last couple of games. But by that I mean, you don't know which guy you're going to get. You don't know which guy you're going to get that's going to come in. He's going to strike out 9. You don't know which guy you're going to get that's going to, it's going to give up the big home run. And once he gives up the big home run, it's just a parade of home runs. But I think he's kind of starting to settle in. So when I settled in Max Scherzer is good for the Mets. Now, what I mean by that is he's going to go out there. He's going to give you hopefully 7 innings, most likely 6. He's going to give you solid innings, maybe a hit or 2 here, maybe a walk, but he's going to strike out a bunch, and he's going to, get you, and then he's going to leave it to the bullpen. Now, again, I know every single year I rail about the bullpen, but it never gets any help. Never, ever, ever. I mean, it didn't help, obviously, when Diaz went down, jumping around with his friends at the World Baseball Classic. But I think at the end of the day, though, the bullpen how are you getting excited for people like Drew Smith and Brooks Raley and the numerous other guys that they roll out there saying, okay, now Max Scherzer just went in there, gave up 1 run, struck out 9. It's a 7th inning. Okay, now here you go, guys. Now finish it up for Max Scherzer. I don't have any faith in that. Now, I'll go back to this game in a second because I want to talk about tomorrow night's game real quick when you got Justin Verlander pitching. Justin Verlander he's got a lot to prove to us Met fans tomorrow night. Not only is he going up against his ex-teammate in Garrett Cole, who is pitching phenomenally right now, he is going up against the Met fans. He's going up against himself, I'd have to assume. You have to stop getting in there every single day, Justin Verlander, looking that first inning in the eyes and giving up your 2-run home run or giving up your grand slam or giving up those big hits in the first inning. Listen, I understand that there's games where you settled in after that. I understand where there's games where you were mediocre after that. But this abysmal Mets lineup right now, being that they don't know who to put where or what's going on. Like I said to you before, it's like with Pete Alonso going down, that's our offense right there, because everybody else in that lineup is going to see the pitches, is going to see the bad pitches. It's going to be a debacle, because at least with Pete Alonso in that lineup, you have somebody to fear that they're going to hit a home run, because he was getting up there, looking that pitcher dead in the eyes and banging grand slams, hitting a home run. He was the major league leader in home runs up until the point where he got hit in the hand and he broke his hand, or whatever happened to his hand. He's out 3 to 4 weeks. That hurts the Met lineup immensely. And look, I know the next day, Tommy Pham came in, or the same game, Tommy Pham came in and filled in for him, hit 1 home run and almost 2. But what has Tommy Pham done since then? Tommy Pham is not Pete Alonso. I love how a lot of these teams, or a lot of these players, or a lot of these fans try to say that when a big star goes down, they're just going to bring somebody and they're going to plug him into the lineup. You can't plug anybody into the lineup to replace Pete Alonso right now in that Met roster, unless you do go out and you get Shohei Ohtani in a trade by the trade deadline. But with that being said, though, it's not going to happen. So that's why the 2 games are going to be played pretty differently, because Scherzer's going to go out there tonight and he's going to try and mow the Yankees down. Now, with Judge not in that lineup, I definitely think that Scherzer's got to have 10, 11 strikeouts. The reason I'm saying that is because there's nobody in that Yankee lineup right now, if I'm a pitcher, that I'm afraid of. Okay, up and down the lineup. You got the kid Volpe, who's supposed to be the next coming of Derek Jeter. You got all these guys in that lineup, and which is fine. You got Donaldson. You got what happened to Rizzo? We got Judge is hurt. You got LeMahieu. LeMahieu went out that 1 year and pretty much almost had an MVP season, right or wrong. Okay, there was talking about him being the MVP. Now Net gets hurt, I guess, and he comes back. That guy has not been there for 2 years. Okay, they really need a guy like LeMahieu to step up. They got rid of Hicks. Hicks is gone. They need that other kid that they got last year from St. Louis. That's a lineup that right now is just as abysmal as the New York Mets lineup, because the New York Mets lineup, just like the Yankees, has really nobody to be afraid of. Okay? Pete was the only one, and Judge was the only one. Not to mention the fact that it's Mets and Yankees center stage in New York City, and Alonso and Judge are supposed to be there banging out the New York City home run race. They can't do that when they're sitting on the bench, or they're sitting at PT, or they can't do that. They have to get healthy. I understand that. But this is something that New York was really going to get pumped for in this, okay? Like, we could sit there and we could talk junk to our buddies. We could sit there and do this. But it's not a series of talking junk to each other, because I just talked to Eric EDUBBS, and he's not pumped for it either. Now, we'd normally be talking trash, this, that, and the other thing. But not today, though. Today, we're like, you know what, though? We have to win other games. We have to win division games. We have to beat teams like the Braves, teams like, we have to beat those teams. And this guy calling up right now is probably calling from a place where he's probably watching the Pittsburgh Pirates right now, probably practice. He's probably watching these bunch of young kids practice. Okay, so sorry, Amish Outlaw can't join right now, but may call in a few. All right, I was just about to wax poetic about your Pittsburgh Pirates, Amish Outlaw, but the point I was making about the Mets and the Yankees is the Mets have to beat the Braves. The Mets have to beat the Phillies. Look, they swept the Phillies, but that doesn't mean they're going to sweep the Phillies in the next series. And I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but the Miami Marlins are a team that's in second place right now. I don't know if they have the guns to keep going to beat out a team like the Braves. I don't know if they even have the guns to keep going until the end of this long season. But right now, they're a team that's a problem in the NL East. Not saying these teams in the NL East are good by any stretch right now, but the Braves obviously are starting to come on because they got the pitching. And Ronald Acuna Jr. is without a doubt playing out of his mind right now. He's stealing bases. He's making plays. He's climbing the wall. He's hitting home runs. Listen, he goes down. You don't know what's going to happen because Freddie Freeman's not there. If you remember the Atlanta Braves team that won that World Series a couple of years ago, Ronald Acuna Jr. went out in the beginning of the season, and they still won the World Series with Freddie Freeman. Now Freddie Freeman's out there in Satanville, where they get offered the most amount of money, but only win World Series when it's a COVID season. Dodgers can't really get out of their own way there. They can have a whole lineup of Freddie Freemans out there, but they just can't get over that hump. I don't know what it is. Or you could be a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, who are just sitting back, winning baseball games and spending no money. Just going out there by pure hunt and peck and looking, who's this guy? Pick this guy from here, pick that guy from there, pick this guy from here. That lineup in the Tampa Bay Rays, if you're an avid baseball fan, there's a couple guys you can pick out that you know who they are. But if you're a guy that just turns on a baseball game and you just watch the Mets or you just watch the Yankees or you just watch your specific team and you turn on the Rays and you're like, this is the best team in baseball right now? These guys, who are these guys? Now, talking to Eric before, and I want to elaborate a little bit, being that that I think it's got to do with a lot of coaching, I think, in Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay has been well known to have the pitching coaches out there where, I mean, it's not, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. When pitchers leave the Tampa Bay Rays organization, they don't get better. Let's just say it that way. They either stay the same, they're a good pitcher, or they get worse. Or they, Cy Young Award winners become mediocre pitchers. So I don't know if that, I guess it's got to do with the pitching. Maybe the pitching coach, teaches these guys a different way to present themselves, notices something that other pitching coaches don't. Because hitting coach is one thing, I think, in baseball. Where a hitting coach, I don't know if they're irrelevant, but I think maybe the hitting coach get out there and hit, he'll say, listen, you open up a little bit more, or you're swinging too hard, or this. But I think a pitching coach could really pick out idiosyncrasies in these pitchers that maybe they're falling to the left too much or falling to the right. Maybe they're picking their knee up higher, or maybe they're not doing it the same moves consistently. So you could sit down and have a psychological conversation with the pitcher. That's per hitting coach, and I think that's what they might be there more for, a little psychological approach, meaning like, just to basically tell a hitter that, oh, you're good. You're 0 for 30 right now, but it's coming. It's coming, buddy. I don't know. Maybe that's there for a little moral support. But something's got to be done with both of these lineups because there's nobody hitting the baseball right now. That's the bottom line of this Met Yankee game. Now, like I said, I'm going to be watching, and I'm hopefully going to watch Max Scherzer mow down that Yankee lineup. Now, let's go to tomorrow night. Now, I don't know what kind of lineup that Buck's going to put out there tonight, and I don't know what kind of lineup that Buck's going to put out there tomorrow night. But with Pete Alonso being out today, I'm going to have to only assume that Canna's probably playing first. I don't know if Voigt's actually going to play today. Maybe they'll throw Voigt out there, give him a first baseman's glove. But I do think that Mark Viento should be playing first base. Now, the guy's been struggling big time. The guy's been struggling because it's all of a sudden like, hey, you're playing tonight, kid. You're not playing tomorrow night. Hey, you're playing tonight, kid. There's got to be some kind of psychological factor when you go from somebody who's being the best player in the minors, hitting home runs left and right, and I get it's the minors, but then you come up and this is what you get. I just, I don't know how to, I just don't know how to, talk about that, because like I said, it's got to be the hitting coach. Amish Outlaw is on speaker now. Amish Outlaw, what's up, dude?
Don't get too excited. Can you hear me? Because I'm on my phone.
Oh, dude, I can't hear you.
Son of a, this damn country.
Dude, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. Let me see. Nope, call ended. All right. Sorry, Amish Outlaw. I would love to hear your input here because I know I didn't get a chance to talk to you all day yesterday. I was dealing with something yesterday, but I'm always dealing with something. But I'm here today, and I'm talking about the Mets and the Yankees. But just like I said, I'm just going to keep going on about the Mets lineup, and I'm keep going on the Yankees lineup. I just wanted to get to the second game for a second. The second game is a game where you got Garrett Cole going up against Justin Verlander. Now, I'm going to tell you right now as a New York Mets fan that I have zero faith in Justin Verlander going in there and pitching a good game. That being said, Garrett Cole's going to go in there and pitch a great game. So it's going to be a game. It's going to be a low-scoring game, but I'm telling you right now, Verlander in the first inning is probably going to load up the bases, and up comes, you name your guy that doesn't normally hit home runs, and he's going to hit a grand slam off Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander is going to look at Francisco Alvarez, shake his head off, have him an angry look or something. He's going to get all out of his game, and then you're going to see him kind of settle in. Okay, you can settle in all you want because after that, that Met lineup has no shot of getting a big hit. They might, you know what? Francisco Alvarez, I'm calling it tomorrow. The end of tomorrow's game, I don't know about tonight's game. I just don't know how the pitching match is going to go. But I'm telling you right now, this final score of tomorrow night's game is going to be Yankees 2, Mets 1. The reason why I'm saying that score is very specific because I really do think that Francisco Alvarez is going to come through again with a big home run. And where he's hitting in the lineup, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very important to my conversation of them losing 2-1. You know why? Because I have zero faith that there's going to be anybody on base when he hits that home run and he hits that said home run. And I think that said home run is going to be off Garrett Cole, and that's going to be his only mistake. I know, and like I said, I know what you're saying. In the past, I'm a big Mets fan. I live and die with my team, but I have no faith in them at the moment. I really don't. And there's no, I'm going to watch because I'm a Mets fan. My son's going to watch because he's a Mets fan. And we're going to make our, we're going to say shit about the team. We're going to call them all sorts of names, but the next day we're going to be there. So Mets and Yankees tonight, to me, didn't have the luster that it had last year or the year before or even in the 90s. But I will be watching, and I do hope my New York Mets do sweep the Yankees. Oh, sorry, guys. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's just going to be a decent baseball game. Tomorrow night's going to be the game to watch where you see Justin Verlander let up that big home run. I don't know what's going to happen. But like I said, tomorrow night's game is going to be a 2-1 loss. The Yankees are going to win tomorrow night. Tonight's game, I think the Mets are going to win tonight just because Scherzer is pitching. And I think sometimes, for some reason, Lindor has a knack of coming through and hitting a big home run for Scherzer when needed. So, listen, Francisco Lindor, I love you. I'm looking at you right now, and I'm pleading at you. I'm videoing this. Francisco Lindor, you are my shortstop for the New York Mets. You're going to continue to be my shortstop for the New York Mets. Met fans are killing you right now. You got to start hitting the baseball. You come up with big spots sometimes. You hit a good ball. You hit some home runs. You get some RBIs. You made an error the other night, which I guess I had to be okay with because I do think you're one of the greatest fielding shortstops I've ever seen. Not the greatest. Relax, guys. But I think there is a lot of benefit for having Francisco Lindor in your lineup every day because of his defense. But when you go dropping the ball like that, you gotta, listen, you're in there mostly for your defense right now, and you're in there mostly because you're a guy that never gets injured and you're always playing. But don't be surprised if somebody doesn't get pissed off and say, what if Steve Cohen says, look, you got a nice smile and all, you're a good-looking kid, but you got to sit down tonight. Not because you're hurt, because you need a break. And I hope that night's not coming, but Lindor, this is a big series. 2 games against the New York Yankees. Come up big tonight and tomorrow night for your pitchers and show the New York fans that you're ready to make a run. I know I said something last time, and I'm going to say it again. Be ready to make a run because it's not going to be long before you see in the Atlanta Braves again. It's not going to be long before you see, and believe it or not, I can't believe I'm saying this, the Miami Marlins again. But get your stuff in order. And Buck, if you're doing this on purpose, I don't know. I don't think you are, but there's some very, very questionable moves that you make as the manager of my New York Mets. And I've been on your side most of the time as well, but we got to start doing something. I go in there and throw the equipment. I don't know, but you got to do something. So I want to see 2 good baseball games, and I'd love to see a sweep. Let's go Mets. I also like to see Pete in the dugout for this one. So that's my take on the Mets and the Yankees game. 2 games tonight. We touched a little bit on the NBA. Eric was talking about the Denver Nuggets last night winning their first championship, 49 years. And it's all because of one player, Jokic. Now, if anybody out there has any kind of reservations or wants to talk or wants to say that there's somebody out there that they think is a better basketball player than Jokic, I've never seen a guy 6'9" dribble like a 6'1" Allen Iverson. I've never seen a guy 6'9" shoot the ball like a Larry Bird. Yes, I said Larry Bird. Now, you know me, I'm a Boston Celtics fan. Larry Bird is like my guy, the reason why I became a Celtics fan. Grew up in New York, lived in New York my whole life. I'm a Mets fan, Jets fan, Islander fan. I root for all New York teams. But Larry Bird is the reason why I was a Boston Celtics fan back in the 80s. This guy could potentially be better than Larry Bird. The way he shoots, he's ice cold on the court. He's got that Serbian mentality where they're going to win no matter what. Even last night when he was holding on to that championship trophy, you still saw in his eyes that he's not done. He's 28 years old, been in the league for a couple of years. He's got 2 MVPs. He's got an MVP. He's got a finals MVP. And he's got, what else has he got? 2 finals. He's got 2 MVPs, 2 finals MVPs, and a championship in his repertoire right now. And he's 28 years old. I don't know what the future is going to hold for this guy. I do know is I don't see him getting hurt unless it's a really crazy injury. I see him playing hurt in the future. And I see this team with him winning maybe one, maybe two more. And this guy is going to go down in history as one of the greatest basketball players ever. And I'm saying that, drop my microphone. And I'm saying that right now from a place who I think Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. I'm not ready to say something like that. But this guy has been around for a couple of years, and he's made a ridiculous impact on the NBA. That's something I want to bring up, too, as people that listen, this on the podcast, as a podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you guys get your podcast. So having a discussion the other night with my son. Now, my son and I talk about Michael Jordan and LeBron James all the time. And if you guys listen to the show enough, you know I can't stand LeBron James. One reason why I can't stand LeBron James, I'm willing to say he is one of the greatest basketball players ever to grace our courts. Okay? I think when you're talking about the greatest basketball players of all time, I really do think that toughness and era of play have to come in when you're having that conversation. The reason why I put LeBron James as the third best basketball player of all time is because he didn't play against the same defense as said other two, or even other ones that I'm willing to. I mean, there are sometimes where I say players are better just because I'm breaking people's chops because they love LeBron so much. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that era of play and toughness have to go into consideration. I mean, LeBron James plays in an era right now where people are scoring a lot of points. And they're not running back on defense. They're not getting in there. They're not punching you. They're not hitting you. They're not hip checking you. With that being said, too, I was watching that. This series, the Denver-Miami series, was played very, very well by the referees. I saw a lot of stuff going on last night on both teams, and no fouls called. And I like that. As long as it's both ways, let them bang, let them beat each other a little bit. It makes for a really good and enjoying basketball game to watch. But it's got to take into consideration era and I mean, guys, LeBron James didn't have Bill Laimbeer punching him in the face, Charles Oakley, Dennis Rodman, Sean Payton, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. I got football on my mind, so I said Sean Payton. I saw him last night at the Denver game. That's why he's in my head. But and just Charles Barkley, guys, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. I don't know. I have to look it up, and I don't know how many Defensive Player of the Year awards that LeBron James has won, but I don't think it's that many. I'm not taking it away from the fact that he's not one of the greatest of all time. The guy's got the points, the stats, and everything to prove it, but he is not tough. There are guys that I'd love to put on their list just because they were tougher than him. Like I wouldn't if I'm starting a basketball team. And you told me I could not have Michael Jordan to start my basketball team. If you said he's taken, but you're starting a basketball team and you have the pool of the best basketball players to ever step on the court, and your first pick is, and you can't have Michael Jordan, my first pick is Kobe Bryant. And again, for the same reason why Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. Because not only did both of those guys have their talent, have their skill, have their perseverance, have their everything, endurance, the knack to get better as the game goes on. He doesn't have that. There are times when you see him when he's playing and he doesn't look for the shot. Well, now he does maybe, but he was getting on in his in his years there. And look, 2003, 04, 05, LeBron James, the guy's amazing. The guy's crazy. The guy was weaving in and out of defense, making people look ridiculous. And again, I'm talking era right now. There was nobody to stop him, guys. Nobody to stop him. You put that same basketball player in 1984 with Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, and you just name your guy, Dennis Rodman. He's not doing the same thing. He's just not. Michael Jordan said after he got the shit beat out of him by the Detroit Pistons that season, he said to him, I could have easily went in and played my game the way I always play and tried to beat him. But I knew I had to get to the gym, and I gained 25 pounds of muscle just so I can kick their ass. I do not see a guy like LeBron James saying that to anybody because he may hurt somebody's feelings or something. LeBron James lacks the toughness of these guys in the past. And I will argue every day with my son who tells me that LeBron James is better than Kobe Bryant, but not better than he's not better than Kobe Bryant because Kobe Bryant will murder LeBron James with his eyes. That is why I cannot put LeBron James above Kobe or Michael Jordan. Now, I know you LeBron lovers out there love his game. I know he scores a lot of points. I know he does a lot of great things for charity. He builds schools. And then he turns around and says something stupid. But then he does something good again, and everybody forgets about the stupid stuff he says. LeBron James is just a guy that's there for LeBron James. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan were there for the game of basketball. And that is where the difference in those two guys are. LeBron James is always, look what I did, look what I did, look what I did. Go back and listen to Kobe Bryant. Go back and listen to Michael Jordan. Look what we did. Look what we did. Look what we did. That's why LeBron James, you take a big L in my book as being one of the best basketball players of all time. And that's the reason. You're not tough. And the only reason you want to win is so you could put it in your little checkbook so you could go into the Hall of Fame as LeBron James. Which jersey are you going to wear going into that? You're going to wear the Heat one. You're going to wear the Cavs one. You're going to wear the Lakers ones. Michael Jordan wore a Bulls jersey because he stayed there his whole career. Kobe Bryant wore a Lakers jersey because he stayed there his whole career. LeBron James wanted to go play with his friends. LeBron James wanted to go play with the best players in the world. You know what? Physically, you're a specimen. You're a great player to watch play. You need to shut up sometimes. Whatever. That's fine. You use that platform for whatever you want to use it for. But let's take into consideration toughness and era of play. LeBron James is not in my top two basketball players of all time for that reason. Now, that was my little rant on LeBron James that I didn't think I was going to go into. I was going to talk about Jokic being the greatest player of all time. But what I guess I made my point, right? It's going to be very hard next year for my Celtics to do anything. I mean, I ripped into the Celtics on our last podcast. I'll leave them alone for now. But Jason Tatum, I'm going back at you again. You got to go and do what Michael Jordan did back then. Let's gain a little muscle. Let's gain a little toughness. How about we run? How about instead of running 5 miles every day, how about we run 10 miles every day? You know why? Because then you're going to have the legs in the fourth quarter. How about we take our conditioning seriously? Now, look, I'm just a regular guy. I do what I got to do. I don't have to condition. That's not my job. So you could tell me that these guys are specimens. They're athletes. They condition at a top level. They work out every day. They run every day. Do more. More. That's what the greats do. They do more. They don't do what everybody else is doing. They don't run 5 miles every day. They run 10 miles every day. They don't shoot 100 baskets a day. They shoot 200 baskets a day. They don't leave practice 5 minutes after everybody else. They leave 2 hours after everybody else. They don't show up on time. They show up 2 hours before on time. That's what these guys do. LeBron James might do that, but LeBron James does it for LeBron James. Those two gentlemen did it for the game of basketball. All right, now I'm going to go to just a third topic that I think I want more answers than anything that I have on this third topic that I'm going to talk about. And this is going to be out on the podcast. It doesn't really look like anybody's listening at this moment right now. But when I put this out on the podcast, I want you guys to reach out to me. I want you guys to email me, text me. If anybody listens to this and hears what I say, I always tell you that I'm talking, but I'm not saying I'm right with what I say. I'm just telling you from what I perceive and what I hear and what I look at. And, that's the information that I have to go on. Listen. What I read, I'm going to regurgitate it and I'm going to say it, but I'm not going to put my foot on it and stamp it as what I'm saying is the truth until I hear it. Or we could talk about what really is the truth. Golf. Just started playing golf. Just started going to the driving range, hitting balls with my sons. Now, don't confuse this conversation with what's happening in golf right now to me being F golf, because I'm going to play golf. Like I said, football, Colin Kaepernick, I'm going to watch football. At the end of the day, sports is my release. Sports is what I do to get away from all the bullshit. If I have to turn other stuff off, I will. Because of this, I'm not going to stop playing golf or whatever. I'm not the social justice warrior that's going to stop wearing something or stop watching something or stop listening to a band or stop reading books or stop doing anything that Americans are supposed to be able to do in a free country because somebody said something or somebody did something or somebody is doing something. That being said, everybody in America should be able to say and do what they want. But also, that being said, us as Americans are allowed to beat you up for doing something that, in my eyes, seems like a black eye for the United States of America. I could be wrong because I may not get all my facts straight. I may not have all the facts, but I have an opinion. I'm going to convey my opinion. And my opinion, I don't know if my opinion is going to be right. I don't know if my opinion is going to be wrong. It's how I feel. and I want to create discussion. Keep Talking 365 is not just about me, Josh, and Eric talking 365. It's about you guys out there talking 365 days a year, because that's being lost in people these days. Now, personally, I think that the PGA has a lot of balls. Okay? Now, by that I'm saying it's all about the almighty dollar when it comes to this. Now, Live Golf, I don't know too much about Live Golf. I think I talked to somebody the other day that told me that what Live Golf is going to do for the PGA is they're going to allow the PGA to play in more tournaments. They're going to allow other golfers. It's going to allow more revenue. It's going to allow more stuff like that. More money to push the game of golf further, as turncoat, tail between his legs, wimpy boy James Monahan said. I think his name is Jay Monahan said. Now, Jay Monahan is, I guess, the commissioner of the PGA. Again, I could be wrong. This could be, he definitely has a big say in what goes on with the PGA. Now, let's rewind about a month and a half when all this stuff with the Saudi Arabian, I think it's PIF. I think it's PIF. And they are sponsoring Live Golf. Live Golf is a Saudi Arabian, I guess, company or golf league that is being backed by the Saudi Arabian government. That means Saudi Arabian money is going into these tournaments, and Saudi Arabian money is funding all these events. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think there was a couple of Saudi Arabians on those planes that hit the towers at 9/11. I don't know about you. I mean, listen, I think that's, historically, I think that's what happened. I'm not saying that all Saudi Arabians are bad. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is there has to be some kind of repercussions from a country that pretty much is running the world. Listen, the entire world runs on crude oil, no matter what it is. And unfortunately, where we get it from, I mean, there's other outlets I know, is Saudi Arabians are in the center of everything. They also have a lot of the world by the balls, because I was talking to somebody one day that said if by chance the Saudi Arabian government got mad and they pulled all their money out of the stock market or whatever it is, I don't know much about it, but they said that would be the most insane crash ever in the history, because they pretty much own everything. Now they're going to own golf. Now, this guy was so adamant a couple of weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, being asked about this program, saying that I think it should be up to the victims of 9/11, all sorts of stuff, saying the right things to Americans, saying the right things to, basically, I'm not saying, I'm paraphrasing. He's saying that no dollar amount is gonna, have us put our tail between our legs. We're not going to merge with them, this, that, and the other thing. A couple of days ago, folks, Live and the PGA has made a partnership. The partnership is going to allow the PGA to push forward, to get more tournaments, to have more golfers involved in events. It's going to grow the game of golf to a worldly level that nobody has seen in a long time because of this merger. That's all well and good. But what does that mean for us as Americans? What does that mean for us as people that don't play golf? Like I said, I hit golf balls at a golf range. What does that mean for people that know nothing about golf, which is a big part of our country? All they see is the PGA is taking billions probably from Saudi Arabia. Now, if you're a golf fan and you could get by that fact, which maybe you are, I think Rory McIlroy had something to say about it, but now all of a sudden he's all in. Phil Mickelson had a lot to say about it. Now, I don't know if he's all in, but I don't know about Phil Mickelson, but I know Rory McIlroy was backing Jay Monahan. It's like, this is our guy. This is what we're going to do. And I think he's saying right now, as a guy, it's going to be good for golf. But I don't know what Phil Mickelson is saying at this point. But I do think that what I just said before is a very good point about people who aren't sports fans, people who aren't golf fans. All they see is what they read in the headlines, which is what America does these days. They just read the headlines. But if you look deeper into it and you read those headlines, it's probably going to get you even more mad. Because you read a headline about the PGA being in bed with Live Golf was being backed by the Saudi Arabian government. Period. Stop. That's all you read as a headline. You're not a sports fan. You're not a golf fan. You're just like, whatever. F this. But if you're a sports fan, you tend to say, all right, so let's see what's going on. Let's read a little bit further. Now, after you read a little bit further and you realize what's going on and how much money is being pumped into it and how many people had said that this is a bad idea and now all of a sudden it's a good idea, now all of a sudden it's a good idea to them. That just shows the American people that anything can be bought. Anything can be bought by the Chinese. Anything can be bought by the Saudi Arabian government. Anything can be bought. Now, I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm not going to talk about the thing I'm not going to go into what I saw this morning, but I'm driving. I was driving to the store this morning, driving around. It's really early, and I'm driving behind a pickup truck. Pickup truck had all sorts of bumper stickers on it. Now, one of the stickers that said on his bumper sticker was America First. America First. Simple. America does not put America first. Now, I like to say one side likes to think they're more American than another side, and the other side seems to think they're more American than the other side. At the end of the day, neither one of those sides gives a shit about America first if it doesn't go into their pockets or if there's not some kind of payoff. Because Jay Monahan, your bank account or your secret bank account is probably looking fat right now. That's how the world works. And I don't want to hear from the Republican side saying that they're trying to get industry back from Mexico. They're trying to get industry back from China. They're trying to get industry back into this country. I want industry. I want people to buy American stuff. But don't listen to your local government and your local officials. If they're a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't matter. As long as there's a bigger price tag being put on something coming from another country, and by bigger price tag, I mean bigger profit for a company. It doesn't matter where this stuff is being made. This stuff could be Nikes are made in some small country. I just don't know it off the top of my head by somebody lacing sneakers getting paid 13 cents an hour. But that's American business. You want Nikes to be made in America? You want Nikes to be your all-American shoe? It's not going to happen. But you want that to happen? Then you start putting this factory here and you start paying people a reasonable wage. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a guy like most Americans that I make what I make. I go on a vacation every year with my family. My kids have decent things. I own my house. I have a pool in my backyard. I have a decent life. I don't have an over the top great life. I still have a ton of bills. It's like my life is still, we have to scrum and work and get stuff together. We have to pay our bills, but we pay our bills and we work really hard so our families can enjoy certain things. That being said, neither side cares where you're getting your float from or where you're getting your car from or where you're getting your computer or your iPhone. How many Americans have an American-made cell phone in their pocket? I want to ask you that question. How many people that were crazy about American cars back in the 80s and back in the 90s, really in the 90s when I said, don't buy them Japanese things, don't buy those Korean things, don't buy those. Everybody's driving Japanese cars. Everybody's Kias. You see Kias all over the place. Kia is a Korean company, ladies and gentlemen. So the fact that both sides tell you that they want to bring American commerce back to the States, you got to start with hiring people from the States, a real wage to build your product, to make your sneakers, to make your shirts, to make your hats, to make your glasses, to make your iPhones, to make your cell phones. Technology. Work on us, not giving billions to Lebanon and Egypt and Afghanistan and, name your country that hates us that we're still giving money to. It's a cycle that's going on and on and on. That's going to keep going on and on and on because somebody will look you dead in the face at that top level CEO position or that top level boss position. Somebody will look its employees dead in the face and say, I have your best interests. I will not go cross seas. I will not. 2 weeks later, the owner of the company calls them up and says, this is what we're doing. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you're all fired. We're going to Mexico. You're all fired. We're going to China. It's bad, guys. And it's happening in sports now. It's happening. It's been happening in sports. From what I understand, this company wants to get involved in a lot of the obscure sports. I'm sure they're heavily involved in soccer. And now they're trying to get into golf heavily. I don't know if they're going to get involved in other sports, maybe, highlight maybe, or I don't know. But they're trying to get their stamp on American sports now, which I'm not saying golf is an American sport, but the PGA is an American association. That's what I mean. So before we start going crazy about, I'm never watching golf again, or I'm never picking up a golf club. Listen, at the end of the day, guys, if you like to play golf, and if you like to play golf, you're going to play golf. Let's stop with the canceling and stop with the, I'm not doing this because he said that, or I'm not doing this because this song is about that. I don't know. Listen, Bruce Springsteen says a lot of crazy stuff in his songs, but still people listen to him, me included. I think Bruce Springsteen's amazing. So let's stop with the canceling factor of just because this happened with golf. Look into it further. It is going to enrage you a little more when you do look into it and you see what's involved and how much money and what it's doing and the amount of people that literally put their tail between their legs. But it's also going to be eye-opening. And eye-opening by what I mean by that is what's going on in America as a whole. And it's not good, guys. It really isn't. All right, so into it about an hour and 4 minutes. I said my piece on the Live Golf and what's going on with the PGA. When you guys listen to this on the podcast, listen, call me up if you guys want. If you guys want to talk about it on a podcast with me. I'd love to sit down and talk to somebody who's pro this Live Golf thing, and I just want to know why. I want to know some real hardcore facts. Somebody who's vehemently against this merger. I want to hear that. And I want golf fans. I want guys that know what's going on in the game of golf. Listen, I could tell you about controversies in baseball. I could tell you in controversies in football, even basketball. But I don't know enough about the golf community to say this is good or bad. So if you got something to say, call me up, text me. If you want to talk about it on a podcast, just let me know. All right, guys, I am going to be signing off now. This is Murph from the MURFand EDUBBS show. As you heard EDUBBS say before, we're going to be doing episode 40 probably next week at some time. He's going on a trip with Ben. He'll be out of town through Father's Day doing a baseball trip, which is actually really cool. Him and Ben do that a lot. So I'd like to thank Eric for calling in today. And guys, I had to get a lot of this stuff off my chest today. And please, listen, Mets and Yankees tonight. Who's going to win? I know I talked all that junk about this, that, and the other thing, but at the end of the day, I'm a Mets fan. Let's go Mets. Kick the Yankees' ass, and let's sweep them. Not that it's going to mean anything, but let's sweep the New York Yankees so us Met fans can talk junk. I guess that's a little selfish, but whatever. This is Murph signing off. Thanks a lot for listening to the MURFand EDUBBS show this afternoon. Later.